And why do we need this kind of resting period? Why? Why do we need resting period? Resting cycle. Okay, there is a 24-hour cycle like that. Then scientists found out, scientists called it the circa-septon rhythm. Circa-septon. Circa means cycle in Latin. Right? Circa-septon, and you write down for you. Oops. Circa I here, DN. That means a 24-hour, okay? Circadian rhythm. And another one is circa septum. What is sept? 7, right? So every 7-day cycle. Yeah. So 7-day cycle is not arbitrary cycle. 7-day cycle is already what? Built in your system in all other living creatures. Yeah? See? So 7-day cycle is nothing that somebody made it artificially. 7-day cycle is as God created this whole world. See? And He already put what? The principle of the rest in you and in everything. See? So, when I found this out, I was very curious if there is any living creature still keep this what? 7-day cycle, I was so curious. Since I'm traveling all over the world, everywhere I go, I'm raising this issue, I'm curious, do you know anything keep the, 7-day cycle? Finally, I found in Brazil. Yeah. And I was giving the seminar to the ministers, ministerial retreat. And after I talk about this, then one minister stood up and said, Dr. Lee, I'm from South Brazil, right? It's a very rural area, very clean, very much unpolluted, well preserved. And my father was an Adventist minister, and we had home church. The home was the church. So few people gather, on Sabbath morning, they worship, and they're done. Then always his father took him by hand and showed them the bird called, in English, I can't really pronounce it in French, but in English it's John, John is the name of the man, right? John of the mud. So this bird is constantly working with the mud. They go take mud and they build house, mud house. Every day. Every day they renovate, depending upon wind direction, Yeah. So every day he works. Every day he works on the house, except Sabbath day. Sabbath day, he sit on the branch and sing. And his father always pointed bird, said, son, see, even bird keeps Sabbath. So, he didn't think of that much, important. But after listening to my lecture, it clicked. Yes, I still haven't seen that bird myself. Okay, I didn't have time to go down there and to see that bird keeping Sabbath. Another time, when I went to deep in the country, it was another ministerial retreat in the campground, and it was a very rural area. And so on Sabbath day, they asked me to preach on local church. So a lot of local Brazilian people came, and I gave a lecture about Sabbath. I call it the theobiology of Sabbath. Why Sabbath is important biologically. Okay? And after the sermon, a pheasant came to me. He couldn't speak English. So he said, he was very eager to talk to me, so he was looking for a translator. So translator I called, and you know what he says? He was excited. He knows there's a honeybee keeping Sabbath. Yeah. Honeybees working hard every day, right? But on Saturday, they don't work. I said, where are they? It takes about 3 hours from here. I said, let's go. So we got on the car and went into the deep mountain. It took 3 hours. Dirt road, dust. And very, very primitive area, When I got there, there's a banana plant, plantation, and all the people don't have any shoes, and there's no windows, they're just sort of muddy house, stone house, very primitive lifestyle. And then, what do you call at the end of the roof? Yeah, end of the roof they hang the stump of tree about this long, and that was the beehive. They hung. Yeah, and many of them. And quiet, I can't see any bees. So where's bees? There's bees inside that, stump. Yeah. So, all I can see is both ends of stump were sort of sealed with mud. Okay? And then in the center, there was a hole. And they said, put your ears. So I put an ear at the hole, and I can hear bees. But I couldn't. I wanted to see them. So I asked them, could you sort of break open, the mud seal, at the both end, But this guy was so kind, okay. So he picked up the stone and he began to bang on, and the mud was falling down, and the bee inside were very scared, They flow out, I was like, so I said, woo! I said, no problem. Quiet. They don't sting you. They don't sting you. I said, how come they don't sting you? They don't even have a stinger. Wow. So I thought that was the Garden of Eden honeybee, Because in Garden of Eden you didn't need what? Stinger. So as sin entered, right? Bee needed to protect their own food, So they need a stinger. According to the need, gene changes, right? Yeah. And so in that environment, there's such a pure environment that these bees did not need to protect their beehive, see? Yeah. Wow. So I could see there's a bee inside when he opened, Wow. And they all came back and they were quiet. So I stayed there for almost 3 hours, and the bees were just staying home. Next day, I was very curious, Sunday morning, right? Let's go. So we drove 3 hours again. I was so curious, And I was there, and wow, they're working. Everybody's working, flying around, Wow. So, that honeybee. So then I was so curious. If I wasn't sure whether any sort of entomologist knows about it. So I got into the internet in an entomology section, Stanford University. You know what? They know about it. There are honeybees in the Panama area And somewhere in some areas of the South America, there are honeybees keeping 7-day cycle. Okay. However, they didn't say which day. They only said there's bees circa septum, the keeping circa septum rhythm. See? All right. I'm so sorry that they didn't say which day, But it's not any day. They know, even though they don't have a calendar, they know which day is resting day. See? Very interesting. See? And so the cycle is already built in.